Hi all, welcome back to Sengoku Dynasty. Merlin here. Just a bit of an admin first of all. You may have noticed, for those that follow my series online through YouTube, I've retitled them to show them as series, like a mini-series, so to speak. So we've had 8 episodes so far. So this is series 2. I thought it'd be quite nice, along with my other game, which I currently show, which is Medieval Dynasty, where little bite-sized chunks into seasons would be useful. I didn't want to use the word season as obviously it's used in the USA because it might confuse the fact being that is this a new season as in the time of the year, or is it a new season as is the time of the game? So I kind of decided to split it into a quick series. This is series 2. Part 1, so thank you for coming. You will note first of all that I have moved my house. I have got a brand new house and it's right by the coast. You also notice a few other changes as well, so we just head into the village. We have all the storage buildings now. Now, because of the level that I'm at, which is level Legend 15, I could have got these. I got these from level 12, I think, onwards. I would recommend, even if you're not going to use the ice storage or the armory for any time soon, if you've got the materials, build them, get them ready so that you're prepared to go. I mean, the ice is going to be a little while yet before it gets going. I've also revamped housing. So rather than having small individual houses, we now have bigger 6-berth houses. You can see as also as I put some half-decent beds in as well now. So again, it's worth doing that. I don't know whether it makes a difference to the mood, but it certainly kind of makes it look good if you've got better housing than you did before. I mean, it was just sticks and makeshift roofs, but now we've got proper conifer panels for all of them. So everybody that is in this village and also in the other village that I've obviously constructed have these type of housing. Pretty much every building that you needed for production I now have in place, whether it is in this village or in the other village. So, for example, the brewery and the paper maker is in my second village, so it's not in this one. Again, I can't stress enough, if you get access to them, build them. Even if you don't use them straight away, unlike Medieval Dynasty, there's no tax involved in regarding the number of buildings. So you're not penalised monetary-wise to have that in place. Also, it's worth investigating what you can put into your existing buildings. So, for example, I wasn't aware until I did a research that in the kitchen you can have up to 8 stations. Now I've got 5 in there at the moment, so I could put another 3 in if I wanted to. So that means you can have 8 villagers working out of the kitchens. And it's the same with a lot of other things. So, for example, the workshop, I believe I could get another one in here, but I'm not going to. But there's 3 in here in the workshop. I think you can have 4. The hunter's workplace down the bottom here, you can have 2 rather than just 1. And I've got a feeling that in the forager, which is over here, you can have up to 4 people in there. But it's quite... So what I did with the forager is I kind of moved some of the entrances. So now you've got an entrance around the back now as well as on the sides. So when you come in the back, you've got 2 tables here and 2 at the front. And I got 4 people working out of the foraging. So it's worth kind of having a look around and seeing what you can get into your existing buildings without having to make multiple other ones. Which leads me quite nicely on to the the main part of this video. When I looked in the Dynasty tab, when I first started playing, I didn't take a lot of notice of this tab here, priorities. I just clicked on it and thought, fine, it's okay. I didn't even investigate it. Big mistake, and I probably a lot of people have done the same. As you can remember, with regards to the Dynasty tab, at the bottom you've got your mood, happiness. Now there's now 7 now I've got here. So meals, beverages, heating, health, maintenance, security, and spiritual. I got the spiritual when I started making statues out of the stonemason. So as soon as you went into that, and I was on level 15, as you can see, now spiritual plays a part, which means I have to start making statues. There'll also be another one called luxury that's coming along eventually, but it'll appear out of nowhere and you don't realise it. Now thankfully they're all in the green. However, this is where I made a bit of a bodge early game, and I suggest, and they recommend that you do go through your priorities tab. And the reason why this came to light was I couldn't understand why the fact that although I was in the green in meals, so I was producing 1,645 a day now, but I was producing a lot more. So although I was in the green, I couldn't understand why there was no basic resources in the food storage. So, for example, there wasn't any eggs, there wasn't any gobu, and there wasn't any meat. So if I wanted to make meals, I couldn't make any meals because the meat was already being eaten. And the reason behind that, and this is where it links very nicely into Medieval Dynasty, for those that have played the game. You have a list of priorities within the hence the word priorities, which is why I should look at it sooner. And you can see that there's a load of toggles on the right hand side. So what was happening? Everything was being eaten. So the meat was being consumed before even the meals were being made. Now, okay, you're saying, well, hang on, well, the meal's higher priority. But the problem was, if the meal isn't in place, they eat whatever's in the shed. So they were eating all the meat. They were eating all the raw fish, the mushrooms, and things like that. So, and the eggs, I couldn't cook any eggs because they were already eaten before I had a chance to cook them. So the recommendation is you go through the list. And for me, I've taken out anything that I'm currently using as a base resource. So anything like parsley, garlic, wasabi, they're all base. And also as well, I had a little look as some of the meals saying about herbs and plants. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, parsley is a herb, but I couldn't understand where the rest of them were. So there are 4 that relate to the herb, and I put that in inverted commas, the herb element, and that's parsley, garlic, ginger, and wasabi. Those 4 form part of your herb element. And the reason why I say about herbs is I'll come back to that in a minute because it's to do with health. So again, like I said, I toggled off anything that was a base resource and only left on those items that are currently not being collected. So I'm not making any lotus root, I'm not making turnip, I am not collecting the berries or the canola, stuff like that. So whatever's there is not being, that has been ticked rather, is items either that I'm not collecting at the moment, such as ginger, or items that I'm cooking up. So we're cooking up eggs at the moment, gobu being cooked up, fish like that. I mean, the cooked fish, to be honest, could well be untoggled because I'm not actually cooking any fish in the kitchen at the moment because it's all being done under the simple fish meals. And the reason why it's important to get these detoggled, because if you can think about it down the bottom here, a raw fish, so for every 1 raw fish, it's worth 4 points in the meals happiness category. Whereas a fish meal is worth 25. Now, a fish meal, from memory serves me right, let's just go into the jobs and go into the kitchen. I think it's in this one. Yeah. So a fish meal is a raw fish and an edible mushroom. So again, go back to your priorities list. So any edible mushroom, so for example, shiitake, I think is a class as an edible mushroom in this case. And also a noku, I think, is classed as well. So most of the base resources only count for like 4 points, where the meals are counting for 25. So rather than kind of letting them eat 8 points for 2 items, you're eating 25 for 1. So that's why I'm suggesting that you do, and eventually I mean, like for example here, I'm kind of cooking up excellent meat meals by using the meat. Now an excellent meat meal, I believe, is the meat, it's a herb, and it's rice. So even normal rice, for example, normal rice, which I think is right down the bottom here, is a point each for rice. Cooked rice is slightly better because it's, where are we, 40 points. But put it into a meal, that's 7 times. It's 70 points per meal. And that's basically where I was falling down. So you do that for all of them. So you go into the beverages. Again, they were drinking my sake like it was water, and I couldn't use sake for medication. So I've basically taken off the sake, and I'll take off the water bottle for Calabush as well. So literally I only want them to drink water. And as you can see here, the basic requirements is 1156, and I'm brewing up 1600 each time. So one item of water, a base resource, is worth 4, as you are aware. Let's go into the heating. So the heating, again, they were like with Medieval Dynasty. For those that have played it, they were utilising all of the wood. They were utilising everything. I wanted paper bark for things like the paper maker, and I wanted ordinary bark for things like, I think it's for, memory serves right, it's to be fused for the charcoal towards, firewood charcoal is to use towards the leather. So it goes as one of the items in with leather. So I think it's fur and bark and something else goes in to make the leather. But it was being used. So every time I had anything, it was being used. But now it's building up on its own. And I shall go in there and revisit that for a later date. But what I made sure was that in the jobs area, so for firewood, I made sure that I had enough. So firewood is worth 5 points. But if memory serves me right, and I'll double check this in a moment, so it's craft up 216 firewood. Now if I go into jobs, I've got a feeling, let's go into the carpentry. It's not in any of those. I think it must be down in this one down here. I'm trying to remember now. Got so many stations on the go now. Right, so I'm creating 27 firewood per day, which equates to 8 times points. So again, let's go back into the priority screen and we go into maintenance, to heating, right? So one piece of firewood is worth 8 points to you and another 5 to the village. So you can see you can calculate back what you need. Maintenance. I need chiseled stone for statues, but they were using the chiseled stone as soon as it was being made for maintenance. So I had to deselect that. So now I've got planks. So planks are being made from the logs. So I had to calculate the number of logs I needed to make a plank, and then obviously the planks I need to make for this purpose. And again, for the maintenance point of view, as you can see on here, 816 points is being consumed on a daily basis, and I'm producing 1500 a day with all the planks. Now I want to use planks for other reasons as well, so tools and buckets and all that being used for that as well. But at the moment I want to just keep that nice and steady with all of them, because I know that otherwise, I mean, for example here, these planks were being utilised only for the maintenance and there's none left because they've all been used. So I need to use all the planks for now, and then obviously we'll revisit it at a later date, because a lot of the tools and a lot of the stuff that's needed will take from any log or any plank. Security, I'll come back to health in a minute. Security is just basically getting a guard tower up. So I've got one in each village, and then I've got some iron weapons that are in place, and that'll tick over nicely for ages. And spiritual, as I said before, I'm using the statue. So the requirement for the village is 204 points per day. 2 statues gives you that and more. Now, obviously, when I get more villages in, I'm going to need to increase my statue production. But at the moment, because statues require chiseled stone, I haven't built enough chiseled stone up to start generating that. But that will happen in a very short period of time. And the final thing I want to look at is health. You need as much health as you can, otherwise the happiness is probably will go down the fastest. So again, you can see here now, it's consuming 680 points per day against a 992 being produced. And the problem I was finding was that the warming drinks were not enough. So one warming drink would be worth the equivalent of 12 points. But it wasn't generating enough. Now I'm generating a lot more because I've got antidotes in place. And if you look at your workshop, I'll go over that in just a minute. You look at your workshop, look at the items that you need to make these up. So for example, an antidote. So let's go into the jobs again, which is antidotes made in the kitchen, along with most of the medication. So let's go into the kitchen. One of the kitchens, I think it might be this one. So anaesthetic. So this is what I'm talking about, the sake. So anaesthetic is being, the sake needs to be used for that, but it was being used for everything else. And the herbs, they go through a lot of herbs a day, which is why I need to build my farming up for parsley and everything else. So this is going to run out probably fairly soon, but I'm going to need to put some in, hopefully from the farming. But the antidote, I must be in one of the other ones. Is it in this one? There we go. Right. So it goes through one sake a day per antidote, 2 poisonous mushroom a day, and 1 bottle. And the same with your anti-poison. 1 warming drink. So basically, I build a warming drink up in here. It goes straight into here. And then a stone jug, which is being made in the stonemasons. But you can see what it does to you when it comes to your points in that basis. So I said 3 antidotes, which is worth obviously one item each is worth 220 points each. So for example, if I do run out of anaesthetic, which is at 90 points each, I could increase my antidote, and that's what I may do because of the workshop. So let's just head over to the workshop quickly a minute. It's in this corner over here. And if you go into craft, and if you go into this bit here, you can see all these items, some of which are locked. They're all open now. So to get them open, you either need to collect an item, such as, I think it was here, was probably a bucket and some fertilizer, or some rot or something. Or here, I think this is to do with, I think as soon as you collected any form of fat or straw, it opens this up. Same with this one. You get straw, then all these, you probably saw when you were playing the game on the right hand side of the screen, as soon as you collect an item that you've never collected before, or you've made an item that you've never made before, it opens up a whole load of green writing on the right hand side saying what's available. And this is what I had to do with all these down the bottom. I had to get the water bottle, I had to make that. To get that, I had to make that. So I had to get bamboo in my pocket to make the bamboo bottle. And then once that was done, I was able to open this one up and then open this one. So now, once you've opened these up, you can put them into your schedule in the workshop. And then that workshop then will then generate the items in the storage ready for the kitchen to use for the antidote. And that keeps it ticking over. Okay, so in regards to the priorities tab, I cannot stress enough that you go through this. If you are finding that you're struggling to see where your own food is, it was kind of like I couldn't believe my eyes when I ran over to here one morning, over to the food storage, and I opened up the food storage. And I looked in, and the only thing I had, I think, was some millet, maybe a little bit of wasabi. But I definitely didn't have any meat or anything. And I couldn't understand why. And now, with all this meat that's coming in, I will revisit this again shortly, but with all this meat that's come in, I could probably increase my production on the big meals. So it is worth, when you go into your buildings, look at your, in the kitchen again, let's have a quick look in the kitchen. You'll see in the kitchen that I've got the big pots running there. And if you go into your meals, you do need to unlock things. So some things you'll need to unlock coins, like that, because you're maybe not at the right level. While they were saying that a simple vegetable meal, I've got an excellent vegetable meal and I don't have a simple one. So logic doesn't apply on that. It's probably that you have to open them up anyway, but they're not available until you actually open up the actual pots themselves, so these half places. If I just go into furniture, for example, we go into production buildings, we go to kitchen, you then have three options. You have the basic one, the general cooking pot, and the bigger pot. And again, once you're able to unlock these, just get them into the building, and that gives you access to pretty much, I mean, these are all the basics. I mean, here that I said to you about need an item, so I've not collected any canola yet, and I've not collected any tea leaves yet. Once I've collected those, I can open those up. But again, it's vegetable meals, it's your fish meals. So this one here, that one you need to collect. Sorry, you need to complete the task for that one. So he's just kind of unlocking everything, and the better the meals you use, the higher priority points you get. Which means then the basic resources isn't being used as raw, and then obviously it's kind of like a circle. So if it's not being used as raw, you can then have more meals being made and so on and so forth, and generate a lot in stock for what you need. Now obviously with food it has a shelf life, but that's fine. The shelf life goes into rot, it goes into fertilizer, it helps you farming. And on that note, let's just pop over to the other village a minute. Excuse me. So we're in the other village now, and again I've started to put some duplicate buildings in because I feel that I needed to do so. And I've got some more farm fields here, so this will be off screen for me to do this, but I've got my own farm field and water field, and I'll do them up. In fact, they've already been, well, they had been cultivated last season. Maybe that didn't finish off then. Okay, but they need cultivating ready to go. I thought I'd done that last season, so maybe one season to the next doesn't work, but never mind. But yeah, so if you have multiple buildings, that's fine, not a problem. I've got the refugee. Let's put them to work. And in fact, what I might do, good timing, eh? So I might put them actually on my farm. So let's go into population first, find him a home. I've got plenty of room in the second village, in the large house. And we'll put him in the farm field. Second farm field, there we go, that one there. And we'll make up parsley. We've got a bag, so plenty there. 24 fields. Brilliant. So he's now happy in place. That means now he can crack on with the parsley and hopefully give us some more herbs ready for those items I mentioned before. So one final thing I want to do on this video, we're going to head back over to our village. Now you might have seen in your own village, if you haven't done this already, I've definitely seen it in mine, especially at the end of the day. You've got the villages, they tend to kind of huddle around things like the wooden torches that are lining up on the pathways. So I thought, well, let's kind of try and build a bit like medieval dynasty. Let's try and kind of build up an area that people can sit down to and relax. And I thought, well, you'll not face west because where the sun's going to go down. So I'm going to start building some items. They're in the village structures, and it's in small architecture, and it's in seating arrangements. So I'm going to do a mixture of. I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference what you do actually. But anyway, let's just we'll put them around about here. So I'll put one there, and we'll leave a couple of spaces with some stools. I'll put a couple of benches there. So I've got currently something like 24 people that are in this village. So if I build enough in for that purpose, and again, if I'm facing west, let's just put this one over here. So that's about 6 so far. So let's put some chairs in. I say chairs, there's logs. So we'll put a log there, put a log there, and I'll put some more over here. And then perhaps some more further, oh, keep doing that, some more further forward. So perhaps put a couple there, perhaps with a bench in between each one. Hopefully that's got enough. And then what we'll do is we'll look at some lighting as well. We've got one bit of lighting there at the moment. We'll put a campfire in the middle. So I'll put one there. I'll put another one there. And we'll put another one at the front here as well. And one over here. Oh, sorry about that there. And then we'll put some lighting out and about. So we've got those kind of like, what are these called? Kagaribis. So we'll make some more of those. And I think they're also in here, lighting, there we go. Actually we could do we've got a stone light, so we'll put that one there. And we'll put that one down there. And those tall lighting ones, I'll probably put them in the village. So we'll just build them. Now hopefully now you notice that when I built the stone lantern, it said it unlocked the unpolished one, which I'm guessing is this one here. Yeah, so it's another light source. So we'll put that up. Actually, we'll put that outside my house, which is right over here. We'll put a couple over there. Go around this way. So I'll put one there. Another one there. And again, they're now saying there's a stone lamp on a column. So you can see what I was saying before about the more items you do, the more it unlocks. And I wonder whether it'd be quite nice to have a pathway that runs from the village into here. Okay, so I'll put the pathway in off screen. Maybe put some lighting along the pathway so people can go backwards and forwards. Now I'm hoping, now that that's actually in place, that people will come and use it. And the question is whether they will or not is another thing entirely. Because at the moment they're probably back in there. So look and see where they are. Are they still working at the moment? Ah yeah, so people are still working at the moment, so give it a little while. I think what it was, I saw on the side of the screen at the bottom saying that they'd consumed their daily requirements, or needs rather, and I assumed that they'd finished work, but they hadn't done yet. So let's head on back over to the area. And like I said, I'll put in a pathway, or a couple of pathways, that's leading from the housing over to this area, and make it a little bit more. I mean, at the moment it's just higgledy-piggledy. I'm quite happy with that. I mean, it's not specifically designed to be kind of like symmetrical. You probably find that people didn't do that anyway. They just kind of put chairs and, well, in this case, log stools and benches wherever they felt like it. But I thought it was quite nice to see there, facing the west as the sun goes down. Right, so I was just doing a couple of off-screen things there. It was telling me that the foragers was off season. Okay, so it looks like so far that they're not going to use it, even though it's getting dark. It may be that this is something that is not in the update yet, so maybe it's something that will happen in the game in due course. But either way, I think it's quite nice to have a nice sort of breakout area. And again, what I'll do is I'll put a pathway in with some lighting and see whether the people start using it. And obviously I'll feedback in the next video to see what happens on there. Okay, so we're going to bring this video to a close. So that's end of part 1 of season 2, as I like to say. As you can probably gather, with regards to this game, we've got pretty much all the buildings needed, but there's still lots to do, and there'll be things like NPC quests that we really haven't touched on, and that's kind of like when you go to other villages and you speak to any of the villages and any of the villages settlements that you go to, and they might have something for you to do. So we'll kind of concentrate on that next time. I have noticed a slight drop off in refugees, so although I picked one up today to go in the other village, you will probably find that you will need to go further afield to get your villagers and refugees, but that's all part of the learning experience. So the next video might be a few seasons down the line before it comes in again, but either way, we'll certainly be going through a few more items together before the whole series comes to an end. I would imagine probably we'll get to a point and there will be nothing else we can do until any new updates arrive. Being that this is early access, I would imagine there's still plenty of things that they want to do first before they release it as a proper live game. So we'll kind of go through that together. I hope you enjoyed the content. As always, click the like button if you do and subscribe. And again, if you've got any comments, put them down below in the comment section. Anything you want me to go over, any suggestions regarding items that you've missed or would like to review, again, please do. Just let me know. And we'll overrun through them, and if we need to do special edition videos, we'll do special edition videos. So I'm happy with that on that basis. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.